April 2013. An image begins spreading around in the fandom of Disney Channel's newest big cartoon, Gravity Falls. Shared by an individual who was recently on a tour of the offices at Disney Television Animation, it depicted a TV screen showing a still from an upcoming episode. And in that still, Old Man McGucket, writing Journal 3. The biggest question in the whole show, who wrote the journals, had just been leaked. Gravity Falls creator Alex Hirsch a tweet on April 10th in regards to the leak by simply saying, "Fuming right now," before deleting the tweet. It seemed the leak was legit. The entire fandom now knew who was the author of the journals. The whole big reveal and possible plan for season 2 was now out in the open. And well, yeah, some speculated on the legitimacy of the leak. Many were convinced it was real. And with that, the fandom waited to see what would happen next. Many convinced the biggest revelation was now known. But then, in 2014, Society of the Blind Eye aired, and it revealed that McGucket was not the author of the journals, but in fact, worked with the author who he no longer remembered the identity of. Did the crew rewrite the whole plot to make the leak mean nothing anymore? Or had the whole thing been an elaborate hoax of epic proportions? As we all know, of course, now, it was the latter. At the 2014 Creative Talent Network Expo the following month, Alex Hirsch, Matt Braley, and Ian Worrell revealed that they were behind the hoax. And on November 22nd, 2014, 10 years ago at the time of this video releasing, Alex made the now famous tweet. Step 1. Make hoax. Step 2. Upload to 4chan. Step 3. Post angry tweet about quote-unquote leak. Step 4. Delete tweet. Step 5. Let internet do rest. Even over a decade on, the McGucket hoax is legendary among Gravity Falls fans and those who know about it. It's not something that likely would happen today, and the fact the crew even did it is insane. As they talked about it in the GF box set, it was all done to throw fans off the trail after they got scarily close to figuring out the true identity of the authors through the clues that the crew had left in the show, thinking it would take longer to be uncovered.
We put it in one of the editor's TVs in the editing bay.
Put a fake timecode stamp on it and did kind of a hidden camera kind of photo of it. And then Alex created a fake Reddit account and threw it up on the internet. And I think he let it sit there for maybe an hour or two or maybe a day, I don't know. Took it down and really buried it, but it got spread throughout the internet, and all of a sudden the internet now believes that. They were like, okay, thank God. Now they believe it's McGucket. Okay, they're off the scent.
Everything about this hoax still amazes me, as it does to both new fans who learn about it and old fans who likely remember where they were when it happened.
The thing to understand about theories this time with the Gravity Falls fandom, specifically theories about the identity of the author of the journals, the two things that most people tended to agree on is that the author had, at least on one hand, 6 fingers, and there was generally the agreement that there would be foreshadowing beforehand of who the author was. So most people kind of assumed that there was a very good chance that the author would be someone or related to someone we'd already seen in the show, which meant that the two big theories, assuming that it was someone we'd met already, the two theories were that it was either Old Man McGucket or Grunkle Stan. There were a few other theories going on, of course, but that kind of already existed as a theory even before Alex Hirsch put this fake image out there to imply that it was Old Man McGucket. And I was definitely in the camp that kind of wanted to go more towards McGucket. So when the image came out, I kind of just was like, oh yeah, I guess I was right. I guess we were right. And we didn't really think about it.
There are some interesting things about the McGucket hoax that aren't as talked about or only recently uncovered, and so, in this video, to mark 10 years since the McGucket hoax was revealed, we're going to discuss them. Starting with the fact that there wasn't just one image leaked by Alex Hirsch, there were 2. And how do we know this? Because we almost lost the original image. See, if you've seen the McGucket hoax or see anyone talking about it, chances are that they'll show you this image. This right here is not the full image, but simply a cropped version zooming in on the TV screen in the editor's bay where it was taken. This right here, this is the full uncropped McGucket Hoax image. And believe it or not, we almost lost it. See, back a few years ago, I was looking around and came across a Tumblr blog by the name of Gravity Falls Infinite. Old fans may know who that is, as this Tumblr user had some interesting things happen with them, which is a story for another time. But anyways, GFI made a post in August 2014 as Season 2 started, trying to debunk the image, and in their post, included a link to an Imgur backup of the McGucket image taken directly from the 4chan thread it was posted on. And as far as I looked at the time, I never was able to find another person who posted this uncropped image. So, in a sense, this one post from 2014 that only got 5 notes managed to link the only known archive of the uncropped image. And it was within all of this that they also mentioned and linked the uncropped version of the second image too. Taken in the same room as the McGucket image, this image depicts a still from Gideon Rises during the scene where Gideon is explaining the journals to Bud by the fireplace in the Mystery Shack while holding Journal 2. The production code of that episode, 618G-121, was how fans found out what the production code of that episode was going to be. Interestingly, the McGucket Hoax image depicts a production code that says 618G-123. That's because for unknown reasons, the production codes for Season 1 skip 618G-116 and 118, resulting in the production codes going up to 618G-122, which is Land Before Swines. That means it was the last episode made for Season 1, with Gideon Rises in turn being the second last. That in turn also implies that the McGucket Hoax image would have been from the 21st episode of the show, or if we assume the 2 missing episode codes are from scrapped episode ideas, then it was going to be the 23rd episode of Season 1 that would have been written or planned out. And of course that episode does not exist, which means obviously this was from a non-existent episode. As for why both these images were leaked together, my only guess is that Alex did so as a way to legitimize the leak, as a lot of people probably would have believed it was real, given Gideon Rises was an episode known to be coming at the time. And as Season 2 had only been greenlit a month prior and episode production codes were probably not yet known for it, which moved to starting with a 2 rather than a 1, that would probably help aid in people thinking it was a real leak from an early Season 2 episode. Of course, not everyone was fooled by that, and funny enough, GFI mentions in their Tumblr post a pretty solid reason why this image was fake, which of course they were right about. As we can see, both images were taken in the same room by supposedly the same person. Their claim is that how could someone on a tour of the offices take 2 pics of the same room, showing stills from 2 different episodes, without being caught? And that brings up an interesting point of discussion too. Exactly when were these images taken? Of course, the screens on the editing bay have a timestamp of April 9, 2013 listed, which makes sense as that would be the day before Alex's fake angry tweet, but exactly what time of the date were they taken? For that, we need to get a hold of the original images so we can analyze the metadata. As you probably know now from my Slenderman Hoax and GF logo image search, we've been able to locate and verify these images as being original based on the metadata in them that can tell us when they were taken or made. If the GF crew didn't remove it beforehand in the images they posted, there will be metadata that can tell us exactly when the photos were taken and so, how far apart as well. Sadly, the Imgur images GFI link don't have that data, and as I said, I've never found another source of the original images besides this one, just reposts of the cropped image. So, that means that the only place the images could exist are on the original 4chan thread Alex posted them to. And so, 2 years ago, I began on that search after the Slenderman image source was found. And of course, like before, Reddit was no help and it ended up being someone on my server who found it. Note to self, next time I go looking for Lost Gravity Falls media, ask the .gfn server first instead of Reddit unless I title the post something like, oh, I don't know, Alex confirms Dip Pacifica an interview to get their attention. Anyways, the original 4chan posts were found by none other than AlexM from the GF logo image search. He messaged me with the links to the thread on an archive site for 4chan CO board. I'd show the link, but if you know anything about 4chan, let's just say you're better off not going and looking at that thread yourself. He explained to me that he had been looking for the thread due to some discrepancies on where exactly Alex Hirsch had posted it. In the box set, Reddit is mentioned as being where the image was posted, but all evidence, including his own tweet, states that 4chan as being the origin.
Alex created a fake Reddit account and threw it up on the internet, and I think he let it sit there for maybe an hour or 2 or maybe a day, I don't know.
So obviously, that means they mentioned the wrong site on the DVD. Though maybe that was also probably at Disney's own insistence, because saying Reddit as probably the source wouldn't ruffle the feathers of SMP or whoever reviewed the box set before release compared to saying 4chan. Anyways, given Alex Hirsch's tweet about the image was made on April 10th, 2013, he decided to check archives of threads on specifically the CO board in the date range of at least 2 days prior, so anytime between April 8th and April 10th. And side note, the fact that we even have a screenshot of Alex's tweet is a miracle too, as only this one exists of it. Guess that shows how quickly it was deleted by him that it was only up for enough time for one screenshot to be taken. Alex read through the Gravity Falls general threads on CO at the time, and within one of them, he found Alex's posts. And what's beyond hilarious about this is that the GFG thread that was active at the time, I guess, on which Alex posted the images too, began in, of all ways, with links to Pirate, the show. I'm not even joking. And even funnier, some of the links still work. But deep within this thread, towards the end of it, lies our prize.
Seriously, don't look at this if you don't want spoilers, but I took a tour of Disney and I got this picture of the editing office and I got a few pictures from season 2 episodes. This one is probably the most interesting. Again, don't click if you don't want spoilers.
This post was made at 10:55 p.m. EST on April 9th, 2013. So PST time-wise, where Alex is, it would be 7:55 p.m. when he posted this. And pretty soon, people began to respond to the image. The thread ended soon and moved to another one where the discussion continued about it, with replies ranging from shock to what had just been posted, speculation, and even, well, yeah. Though not as much as I assumed it would be. I thought the whole discussion would shift to talking about it more so, but it more or less continued to be a range of topics about GF being discussed. A few minutes later, Alex posted the second image on the original thread.
Here's another one. It's less spoilery, but also blurry.
Like I said, the thread ended not long after, with discussion moving to another one. But hold on a minute. How do we know that these were the real posts Alex made? The images sadly were not archived, so the fastest way to prove that and get the original saves are out of the window. But we can be certain these were from Alex for two reasons. First off is the timing. These were posts made on the evening of April 9th. The image shows it was taken on April 9th, and Alex's tweet of course was made on April 10th, the following day. That's more than enough time for the image to have been posted there, spread around the fandom, and eventually reach him. The second way we can prove this was legit is through the image dimensions being mentioned. Both posts show the image posted to be 2,592 by 1,936. And well, while they don't have the metadata we're after, the Imgur images that GFI said were taken straight from the 4chan post are exactly the same size, albeit the Gideon Rises pic is only if it's rotated, which implies the original image Alex posted was sideways. So these posts' timing and image dimensions are correct. And also, while I'm no expert on 4chan leaks, the wording of the posts also sound about what I'd expect Alex or whoever wrote it up would assume a leaker would say on there. It's worded very amateurish, if that makes sense. So now we have the original uncropped images and also have refound the 4chan thread that Alex leaked the images on. But I still wanted that metadata and to find the OG images, so I recently did a bit of extra digging. Going back to GFI's Tumblr post, they mentioned at the very start that the GF wiki keeps deleting the images every time it's posted there because they assume it's a spoiler that fans should not see per Alex's own likely wishes based on what he said. Recently, I'd helped MF99K find some old blog posts on the GF wiki for a video that she made, and that got me thinking. If someone posted the McGucket Hoax image back in 2013 on the wiki, the image might still have a log of being posted and deleted.
So I think it's pretty easy to understand how, since we had these two theories of is Grunkle Stan the author or is Fiddleford the author, and also this observation that there are inconsistencies with Stan's appearance, that's kind of what initially started this whole Stanley the secret twin theory, which started up at this time, which I was aware of, and I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like that's the case to me. But I think it's pretty easy to see where someone who's seeing that, oh, there's this theory that it could be Fiddleford, but there's also the theory it could be Stan, and if this theory that Stan has this twin brother is true, whereas his twin brother the secret author who disappeared mysteriously, and I think If Alex noticed that, that's pretty obvious. That's what he was like, oh god, I gotta fix this. And what made him go to create the hoax image in the first place.
Well, it only took a bit of searching and I managed to find my first hopeful clue to that. The original Gideon Rises image is still up on the wiki. Now, when I say original, it's actually a cropped image zooming in on the TV screen, but the important thing is that it has the metadata, which we'll get back to in a sec. What that means is that most likely whoever posted this image got it from the 4chan post, though they also cropped it, which makes it very annoying to say the least. Anyways, I went through all the logs dating back to April 9th and April 10th on the profile of the user who posted the Gideon Rises image, and lo and behold, there was a log for a deleted image that matched. Old Man McGucket writing without his hat.jpg. Posted on April 10th, 2013 and deleted the following day for being a spoiler. Could this be it? Now, thanks to my efforts to help update and keep the place in shape, I am a staff member on the Gravity Falls wiki, and with that, I was able to view the deleted image, and just as I suspected, there it was. Cropped just like the Gideon Rises image, but posted on the same day and time as it too. Now, of course, given this image is not considered a leak now, I see no reason for it to remain deleted, and so, I undeleted it. And with that, the OG McGucket Hoax image posted to the Gravity Falls wiki is back up on there after over 10 years. Also, side note, in the GFG thread made after the original one Alex posted to closed, and Anon posted the images there again, but if you look at the dimensions of it in comparison with this image, they match. So it means that in turn, the cropped version of the pic that spread came from this Anon originally, and it spread from there. I guess likely this one caught on over the original uncropped image because the GFG thread Alex posted it to closed not long after he did so, and with the discussion moving to this new one and this post being one of the first ones on it, this was the image that got shared around more so. Small miracle then that we even have the original images from the OG thread. But anyways, cropped or not, this is the original image, and the metadata, as I hoped, was still there as it was from when the image was saved off of the original thread. And within it were the answers to almost all the remaining questions. The image had been taken by an iPhone 4 at 6:35 PM PST on April 9th, 2013. Remember, Alex's post was at 7:55 PM PST on April 9th, 2013. Assuming the pic is showing PST time, then the image was taken a little over an hour before being posted to 4chan. Similarly, the second image was taken at 6:41 PM on the same day and posted a few minutes after the first image on the same thread. So, there's no doubt left therefore that those posts on the thread are indeed the original ones the image was posted on. And there's one more thing that is in the metadata of both these images that wasn't in the GF logo image metadata. Coordinates. Yes, there's a location. Now, when I put both sets of coordinates into Google Earth, it showed two different locations about a kilometer apart in Los Angeles. But what's important is what lies between the two of them. Disney Television Animation HQ. Funny enough, on the 10th anniversary of the show, Joe Pitt revealed on an Instagram story that during production of Season 1, they were moved to an off-site property building which they nicknamed Fucktown. Fucktown! So, it's possible that maybe one of the two locations, but my more likely guess, given by Season 2 production when the image was taken they were likely moved back to the main Disney TVA offices, the fact that I did read up that older iPhone image coordinates can be a bit inaccurate, and the fact that Disney TVA HQ is in between the two locations, it's more likely that we're just seeing inaccurate coordinates of the GF offices rather than anything else. So, now we got the original uncropped image, the original 4chan post Alex made, and now the copies of the original images with the metadata still in them that prove when and where they were taken. So we have everything now, right? What's left from the McGucket hoax to find? Well, there is one big thing still missing. The original hoax art itself. By that, I mean the original McGucket still, the image that was on the screen in the editor's bay. Despite how many years have passed, the GF crew has never posted the image itself online. It wasn't posted on the old crew blog, It wasn't posted by any of them on their socials, and it wasn't shared by Alex Hirsch or anyone else who was credited to have worked on it. So, where is it? Well, back in the summer, I was talking with Alex Hirsch about some unrelated stuff, and in the midst of the conversation, I asked him about the image and if he still has the art saved in a file or something. Alas, he didn't. As he put it, the image is likely lost to antiquity. I also reached out to Ian Worrell and Joe Pitt about it, as they of course worked on the image. While Joe didn't get back to me, Ian did, simply stating he didn't have the image. It's very possible the image still may exist in a hard drive or file, either with Alex or another crew member, but it's also very likely it's been lost to time. And if so, it is kinda sad to think about that. So many Gravity Falls fans have seen this fake screen cap of McGucket writing the journals, but alter an image of an image, and the real raw file, it maybe got deleted one night without knowing or is sitting forgotten in a storage bin somewhere in California. Either way, it's the final piece of the McGucket Hoax puzzle that we still don't have, and likely may never have. But, as it is with these searches, there is always that slim chance that the matter of if may become a matter of when. But you never know. As a fan who joined well after it happened, the McGucket Hoax is a legend I've heard passed down from fans who were there and from those who archived it. It's a tale as iconic as the show itself, and one that will likely never be repeated. The McGucket Hoax was a lesson both for fans and the crew. For fans, it was a realization that a leak or theory they may think is true may not be. It could very easily be a troll from a fan, or in this case, the folks behind the show itself. It made fans more mindful and skeptical about new ideas. Instead of tossing theories left and right and accepting all as true, each one was worth thinking over more so to see if it really was possible, or if it was too good to be true. It was important to do that now, because who knows if Alex Hirsch was up to another hoax again by spreading a false new theory. And for the crew, it was a lesson in just how capable the fandom was. Hints they thought would take ages to be cracked and connected were solved before they'd even gotten to work on Season 2. It meant that they had to be more mindful and more careful about what each episode fed the fandom in terms of clues. One slip up again, and they'd guess what happens next too fast.
Because since there was already a theory that McGucket could be the author, it was really easy for Alex to kind of play into that preconceived idea and play into everyone's confirmation bias with this image, because it made it really easy for everyone to just latch onto that. Because I was definitely a victim of that, because I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, McGucket's the author. That makes sense. And there were definitely people who would be like, hey guys, don't show the image because Alex doesn't want people to show the image and it's a leak. And people never listened to that. People would still share it all the time and talk about it all the time. We'd kind of like pretend that we weren't talking about it, but we'd be like, you know, it's the image of McGucket, you know, that one. And so like there was like hush hush, but not really hush hush about it. I'm sure Alex was glad that everyone just took the bait completely, hook, line, and sinker. But it was pretty smart of him to do that, to play with the fans and kind of take the theories and put it against them.
What I find amazing about this hoax is just how creative for its time of a way it was to address a plot point being figured out by fans. The GF crew could have easily ignored it all, or seen that they'd made the reveal too easy to solve, and changed things up at the last second that may have made GF not as good with a reveal that was not as intended to be. But they didn't. Instead, they made a fake answer to the question, gaslit the fandom into thinking it was real to the point anyone who questioned it was not listened to, and then shocked them all with the revelation that they were all wrong, because they were right at first.
Who puts forth that kind of effort for this thing? But it actually, I mean, that's part of it. There's this whole ocean of people that were thirsty for that kind of stuff, and it was just another part of all these different fun things that Gravity Falls did for the fans.
It made fans who guessed the Stan Twin theory likely feel a lot more capable and vindicated for being right from the start, while those fans who turned away from it were left realizing just how easily Gravity Falls could trick you into believing a theory that was heading for a brick wall. And of course, as we now know, Stan having a twin brother who wrote the journals was indeed the answer, and would be revealed and not what he seems. The McGucket hoax itself spawned some really funny memes and fan art that really drives home just how insane the revelation likely was to fans back in the day when it happened. And recently, the hoax is referenced in the book of Bill itself, with Bill saying how he'd prank Dipper by beaming fake images of who the author may be to him, which also may in turn also imply that the McGucket image is now canon as possibly being one of the images Bill showed to Dipper. I guess that one's more up to you if you want to believe it or not. Before we end, I just want to mention one last little funny thing about the image. Something that I found out from others discussing it, and something that in retrospect, I kinda wonder how fans back then may not have picked up on it and realized was clearly telling them that this image was a massive red herring of a leak. Above the image on the TV screen, you can see a timestamp meant to show when in the episode the image is seen, and in this case, it's at 1 minute, 12 seconds, and 24 milliseconds I think into the supposed fake episode. If you take those numbers, 0, 1, 12, and 24, and then run them through the A1Z26 cipher, you get this. Here's to 10 years of the McGucket hoax. The greatest hoax in Gravity Falls fandom and likely modern Disney cartoon history. I've been that GFN, and thank you for watching.